Thank you very much. Pledge of Allegiance. Supervisor Golson, can you lead us tonight?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Take a moment and enjoy the cold weather. Please be seated.
That's true.
We're in compliance with open meetings law, Mr. Lucky.
We are, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. I entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Who moved? Supervisor Backlund, second by Supervisor Goulet. Any moves? Anybody seen move around here? Anything else they noticed? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. Approval of the December 10th, 2024 meeting minutes, Mr. Winnicky.
I would move approval of the December 10th, 2024 minutes as submitted.
Second.
Second by Mr. Paulson. Anybody else? Questions, discussion? Any changes noted? Seeing none, all in favor of approval of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Communications. Madam Clerk.
We have notice of public hearing, planning and zoning, which is January 16th, 2025 at 7 p.m. We also have some retirement recognitions, and you should also have the treasurer's monthly report.
Thank you very much.
Is anyone here for retirement recognition?
That was my question.
Yeah, okay.
Is Terry here?
Terry's not here, but
You've got it.
yeah, I have them. So John, correct? Yep. John, if you want to come up, and Sean, if you wouldn't mind coming up too. All right, this is my first one. This is my first time talking in this job, so lucky you. Lucky me. So this is a retirement recognition presented to John Pruce for 22 years and 10 months of dedicated service. The dedicated service commitment you have shown are achievements to be proud of. This is signed by Steve Nass, the county board chair today. Give you this. Thank you very much for your time. And Sean, as a representative of the highway department, is there anything you want to offer?
Yeah, Prudy was a great asset to the highway department. We're going to sorely miss him. He plowed out on State Highway 26 for us, worked in the sign shop, started on the crushing crew. Quite the character. We love having him. We're going to miss him, but he's going to enjoy retirement. And just want to congratulate him.
I can watch it snow from the house.
Thank you very much and congratulations. Now we have public comment on anything on the agenda items. Any public comment for things on the agenda? Mr. Gulick.
It's an agenda item of sorts. I'd like to welcome Michael Lucky as our interim county administrator in his first meeting in the county board. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you very much.
Be kind. Ms. Renard. I didn't get the sign up sheet up here, so please. And just so you know, I know where this is coming from. Amy is the chair of broadband, and you have several things here tonight, so she's here to make a few comments on that, and then she's also going to be available if we have questions for her.
I'm going to defer the questions to Michael.
Okay, fair enough.
Steve is right. Good evening, everybody. I'm Amy Renard. I'm from the town of Ixonia. I was on the county board for 12 years, and during that time, I was on the broadband working group for, I don't know, 5 years or something. And then after I left the board, Steve appointed me to be a citizen member on the board. So now I'm the chair again, kind of a deja vu thing. So I'm here tonight to urge you to vote yes on the 3 resolutions under agenda item number 8. Excuse me. The State Public Service Commission rules governing these BEAD grants give applicants an extra 7 points if a county where the proposed projects are going to be done endorses the applicants. So these three internet service providers that you have before you tonight approached the county and asked for our endorsement. The broadband committee met with representatives of the companies. We heard their presentations about their projects. We got a chance to ask questions. We evaluated all of their proposals, and in the end, we decided to endorse all three applications. Each of these companies is a very reputable, large outfit. They're capable of completing these projects within the 3-year window, and none of them has asked for any matching funds from the county, which is one of the things we asked them. So we don't know if any or all of these applications are going to be approved. We don't really have a say in that. That's between the ISPs and the Public Service Commission. But each of these projects would go a long way in bringing high-speed internet to, it's estimated now, about 2,600 locations across Jefferson County that the PSC has determined are unserved or underserved by high-speed internet. And probably many of us in this room tonight live in those locations. I know I do. The executive summary here pretty much summarizes to what I've been talking about. And while I'm standing up here, I just want to really give a shout out to your interim administrator, Michael Lucky. He has been really instrumental in gathering all the information that we needed, reaching out to the ISPs, putting out a request for information. This, as is typical with the PSC, the rules governing the awarding of these grants are insanely complicated. They keep changing. The interpretation of the rules keep changing. The deadlines keep changing. And Michael has really been on top of all of this for us. And he's just been very pivotal in us being able to make informed decisions about the applications that came before us. So that's why I'm going to defer all the questions to Michael. He's the guy with all the answers, although that puts him on the spot. But he really does know a lot about this and has been tracking it since the very beginning. So I just urge you to accept the recommendations of the Broadband Working Group and approve these endorsements. Thanks.
Thank you, Amy. We may still ask you questions if we want. All right. That takes us to item 8, Broadband Working Group, resolutions endorsing internet service providers' application for broadband equity, access, and deployment program BEAD, funding for the broadband expansion in Jefferson County. Supervisor Truex.
Yeah, I have resolution number 2024.
75.
And it's my understanding there's 3 resolutions that are essentially the same, but for the 3 providers that we have, so I'll read the first one. Endorsing Bertram Communications for BEAD funding for broadband expansion in Jefferson County. Part of the application process for the Broadband Equity and Access Development BEAD grant available from the federal government through the state of Wisconsin's Public Service Commission is an endorsement by the county and/or tribe where the project is located, a resolution from the county where the project is located, along with corresponding letter to the Public Service Commission, can grant an ISP 7 points out of a 100-point application. At their meeting on October 31st, 2024, the Broadband Working Group recommended issuing a request for information to all internet service providers who had issued a letter of intent to compete for BEAD funding. In that RFI, which was sent out on November 8th, 2024, the Broadband Working Group sought detailed information on the proposed service location, technology type, construction timeline, contracting and subcontracting process, project cost, cost to consumer for internet access, proper points of contact, and other relevant points. After ISPs returned the RFI, they were invited to meet privately with the interim county administrator and Broadband Working Group chair, and later presented to the full Broadband Working Group. At the January 10th, 2025 meeting of the Broadband Working Group, members discussed the merits of each proposal. The Broadband Working Group voted to endorse Bertram Communications in their application for BEAD funding and recommended advancing this to the full County Board of Supervisors for approval. And none of these have a fiscal impact. The second one, which I'm assuming is Resolution 76, is for Brightspeed, and then 77 would be for Frontier.
Thank you. Otherwise, the wording's identical on all the other ones. Do you move for the acceptance of these?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Moved by Supervisor Truax. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Winnicky. Questions, discussion? Mr. Brogler?
Just want to make sure that we can approve all of these in one sweeping vote, or do we need to vote on each one separately?
I think we should vote on each one separate.
Okay.
So we'll start with 75, but we'll save us some time here. Not doing a lot of reading here. So we'll go on 75 first, but they're all the same. So is there any general questions here concerning these resolutions? Seeing none, we'll vote on Resolution 2024-75. This is a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Mr. Gross wrote opposed, okay. Then we will vote on Resolution 76.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Supervisor Truax makes a motion, Mr. Winnicky second. Questions any on this? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
One opposed, it passes. And Resolution 77,
I'll make a motion.
motion by Supervisor Truax, second by Mr. Winnicky. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
One. They all pass by voice. Okay. Very good. Takes us to Finance Committee. A resolution entering into a contract with Government Finance Officers Association for a fund balance reserve study. Supervisor Jones.
Resolution number 2024-78. Fund balance reserves are a tool for weathering unforeseen and often catastrophic events, ensuring stable tax rates, and providing a measure of liquidity for normal operations while keeping the county's long-term investments intact. The maintenance of a healthy fund balance reserve is recommended as best practice by the Government Finance Officers Association. In 2010, the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors adopted a policy based on the best practices at that time that were established by the Government Finance Officers Association. The adopted policy requires that Jefferson County hold 2 months of budget general fund expenditures in reserve at a minimum, with a goal of holding 3 months in reserve. Later, this policy was revised to include all operating funds in the reserve calculation, with those exceptions to include capital purchases and one-time grant funds. The Government Finance Officer Association is currently undergoing revisions to its best practice for fund balance reserves that are based on an assessment of the various risks that government face and the probability of a risk occurring, both individually and concurrently. This assessment also considers factors such as insurance coverage and deductibles and the availability of alternate funding sources that would assist with mitigating risk exposure. This approach requires a study that is tailored to the government's external and internal risk exposures and coverage. Jefferson County wishes to demonstrate fiscal responsibility and transparency by holding adequate reserves to overcome potential financial challenges, while at the same time demonstrating stewardship of its taxpayers' money. Jefferson County desires to embark on a reserve study to determine a responsible approach to holding taxpayer funds in reserve. The Finance Department has contacted its current and former audit firms as well as GFOA to assess the qualifications of potential service providers. Through these communications, the Finance Department has determined that Government Finance Officers Association is the most qualified service provider due to its contacts with major insurance companies and the relationship with bond rating agencies. A proposal was received from GFOA for these services in the amount of $50,000. On December 10th, 2024, the County Board of Supervisors approved a budget adjustment of $50,000 for the 2025 budget for this study. This resolution authorizes the county administrator to contract with Government Finance Officers Association for a fund balance reserve study. The Finance Committee considered this resolution at its December 3rd, 2024 meeting and recommended forward to the county board for approval. Fiscal note, funds for this study were approved by the County Board of Supervisors at its December 10th, 2024 meeting. No budget amendment is necessary. Mr. Chair, I move for passage of this resolution.
Moved by Mr. Jones. Do I have a second? Second. Second by Mr. Draina. Questions? Discussion? Mr. Gulick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. One of the questions, I have several questions on this issue, but one of the questions I have is do we have any idea how they arrived at a fee of $50,000? Is there information about the bid process or what that money will go to? Is it an hourly rate? Any information about that?
Mark, you want to address that?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. The fee is based on the estimated amount of hours that it's going to take. And it's broken out into three different phases. The first is the project kickoff and preliminary risk analysis. That's $15,000, estimate of $15,000. There's a complete analysis of risk and risk model. That phase is $25,000. And then the final report and Excel risk model is $10,000. They did give us an optional service if they want to be on, we want them to come on site and present the results of the study. That was an additional $5,000, which we declined. We will decline if this board passes this resolution. Again, it's based on the estimated amount of time and an hourly rate of $300 an hour that GFOA has proposed.
Any other questions? Discussion?
Yes. Supervisor Lund.
Supervisor Lund.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It seems to me that it seems to be a self-serving recommendation if the recommending organization, the Government Finance Officers Association, is also one of the contractors, stands to benefit financially from a contract with us. Can someone explain why that's not a conflict of interest?
I can try to
Mr.
answer
Vries.
that. Sure. The Government Finance Officers Association establishes best practices, and that is optional for us to follow. We don't have to. So I don't think there's any conflict of interest here because this is not a requirement for us to have a fund balance reserve. The reason we brought this forward is because, for years we've done a 3-month goal with a 2-month requirement. And that best practice is meant to be kind of a one-size-fits-all best practice for the entire country. And when you think about, the types of risks that we're exposed to, they're pretty limited, compared to other areas of the country. We don't have earthquakes here. We don't have large-scale fires or hurricanes. We do have some floods sometimes and some tornadoes. But in terms of large-scale disasters, I think our exposure is relatively limited. So what I'm expecting to come out of this is probably a recommendation that is somewhat less than what we're currently carrying. And then there would be some further discussions ensuing from that, I think. What I would like to have is just be in a position to defend the amount of fund balance that we're holding. Because it is taxpayer funds, and I want to be able to defend the amount that we have in reserve to our taxpayers, basically.
Thank you.
Other questions? Other questions? Seeing none, this is a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Did I hear no?
No.
Okay. Mr. Gulick was a no? Okay. Passes via voice. Takes us to item number 9. Human Resources Committee, resolution eliminating a vacant full-time program assistant position, creating a full-time zoning on-site waste management technician in the Planning and Development Department, and amending the 2025 budget. This will require a 2/3 vote. Mr. Brogler.
Resolution 2024-79, eliminating a vacant full-time program assistant position and creating a full-time zoning on-site waste management technician in the Planning and Development Department and amending the 2025 budget. The Planning and Zoning Director has identified a need to restructure staffing to better meet the department's operational demands and improve service delivery. The current full-time vacant program assistant position is proposed to be eliminated and replaced with a full-time zoning on-site waste management technician position. This transition addresses workload shifts, aligns with technological advancements, and enables the department to offer enhanced services, including becoming an agent of the state for sanitary permit issuance. This resolution amends the 2025 budget to eliminate a vacant full-time program assistant position and create a full-time zoning on-site waste management technician in the Planning and Development Department. The Human Resource Committee considered this resolution at its meeting on December 17, 2024. The Planning and Zoning Committee considered this resolution on its meeting on December 30th, 2024. And the Finance Committee considered this resolution at the meeting on January 7th, 2025. All three committees recommended this resolution be forwarded to the County Board for consideration and approval. Fiscal note. The elimination of a full-time program assistance position and the creation of a full-time zoning on-site waste management technician position results in an approximate $28,500 increase in annual wages and benefit costs. These costs will be funded through adjustments to the Planning and Zoning Department's fee schedule with revenue from 4 to 5 state review permits at $300 each, $13,500, revenue from a mound and at-grade sanitary permit increase of $50, $2,250, and revenue from other sanitary permits with a $150 fee increase, that's 80 permits for $12,000, for a total additional revenue of $27,750. The remaining $750 will be absorbed within the existing department budget through operational efficiencies. No additional tax increase is required. This resolution authorizes the finance director to make the necessary budget adjustments to enact this resolution. This is a budget amendment. County Board approval requires 2/3 vote of the entire membership of the County Board, 20 and 30 member County Board. I move for passage.
Moved by Mr. Brogger, second by Mr. Jekyll. Questions, discussion? Mr. Backlund.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just got a question is, what are the other sanitary permits?
Matt will answer that. He's working his way up.
The other category would be primarily conventional septic systems.
For permits for new?
New or replacement. So any conventional system in ground.
Other questions? Stay there, Matt, just in case. Mr. Morris.
We're voting to raise fees, is that correct?
We're voting to change the position,
Yes,
but then it'll be.
I understand that, but to do that, we have to raise the fees.
Mhm.
Got
And
it.
it's part of their general fee schedule, yeah. Other questions? Other questions? Seeing none, please vote on your tablets.
Supervisor Herbst?
Aye.
Supervisor Richardson?
Aye.
We have 28 yes, 1 no, and 1 absent.
The resolution passes. Taking us on to item number 11. Report to the honorable members of Jefferson County Board of Supervisors and Zoning Committee, Mr. Jekyll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jefferson County Planning and Zoning Committee, having considered petitions to amend the official zoning map of Jefferson County filed for public hearing on December 19th, 2024, as required by law pursuant to Wisconsin statutes, notice thereof having been given and being duly advised of the wishes of the town boards and persons in the areas affected, hereby recommends the approval of the following petitions which the committee finds meets the standards for rezoning set forth in Jefferson County Ordinance 11.11, paragraph E, and state statute 9148 of the Wisconsin statutes applicable, where applicable. Approval of petitions as listed, dated this 13th day of December 2024. Blaine Paulson, Secretary. And then that leads us over to ordinance number 2024-18. Amending the official zoning map of Jefferson County, whereas the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors has heretofore been petitioned to amend the official zoning map of Jefferson County, and whereas petitions as listed were referred to Jefferson County Planning and Zoning Committee for public hearing on December 19th, 2024, and whereas proposed amendments have been given due consideration by the Board of Supervisors in open session, whereas consistent with the recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Committee, the Board of Supervisors finds, where applicable, the standards set forth in Section 9148 of the Wisconsin statutes for rezoning out of A1 exclusive agricultural zone are met by the proposed rezones. Now therefore be it ordained, Jefferson County Board of Supervisors does amend the official zoning map of Jefferson County as follows, and they are listed on the two following pages. Mr. Chairman, I move for adoption of this ordinance.
Moved by Mr. Jacobs, second by Mr. Paulson. Questions, discussion? Mr. Kennard.
I will abstain for a potential conflict of interest.
So noted. Any other questions, discussions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. The ordinance passes. Takes us to item 12, appointment by county administrator. Mr. Lucky.
Thank you. By virtue of the authority vested in me under sections 59.182C of the Wisconsin statutes, I respectfully request confirmation of the following appointment. Nate Salas of Watertown, Wisconsin, to the Veteran Service Commission for a 3-year term ending December 13th, 2027.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Brogler, second by Mr. Morris. Questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Seeing none. And
by virtue of the authority vested in me under sections 59.182B of the Wisconsin statutes, I respectfully request confirmation of the following appointment. Sean Heaslip as interim highway commissioner beginning on January 25th for an indeterminate term.
So moved.
moved by Mr. Jacobs, second by Mr. Morris. Any questions, discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
The appointment stands. Public comment of a general nature. Any public comment of a general nature? Seeing none. Announcements. Any announcements? I'll announce the Packers won't be going to the Super Bowl. Anybody else?
What about
Vikings won't be going to the Super Bowl either.
Okay, seeing no further announcements, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. We're gonna get out of here before 7:30. Moved by Mr. Jacobs, second by Mr. Goulig. This is not debatable. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you very much for coming out on a cold evening for a half hour.